All right, well, I hope you're ready for a weird, like, platforming sequence. Now, there's a way you can go across there. You can put out the flames and you can get that. Uh, I don't think it's really worth it. We're just gonna mosey on over here and do a weird scripted failable platform sequence, which is also great game design, and I'm sure this really says a lot about society and contributes to the meta narrative. Hey, I recommend crawling on this because it's very easy to slip on the bird poopy and die, and it's very funny. But we're trying to take this mission at least a little seriously. Again, Raiden's getting fed up with things, and I think that's pretty cool. Again, I never had any problem with Raiden. There's an M4 suppressor there. And, no. There's people who claim that you can do that, and I guess you can. Huh, I've never been able to successfully do that. Our phone's ringing. Use the coolant spray to put out fire. Yeah, most people don't ever see that because I honestly didn't think you could do it. Oh, it's the AK suppressor. Oh, the AK gets a suppressor, huh? I honestly don't remember that. I thought the M4 got a suppressor. Maybe they both do. Maybe it depends on which difficulty you're playing. Anyway, our AK suppressed now. That's pretty useful. Or it would be if there was really anything to shoot at anymore, but there's not. Because look, it's scripted platform time. The floor's falling out beneath your feet, flipping over this rail. The big shell, it's not really neat. Reduced to singing songs, cause the game doesn't wanna let me play. The game's just going wrong. I guess I'll shoot these guys anyway. Yeah, let's just, yeah. We don't need to get spotted by them. Oh no, how do we get across this? Well, you can just shimmy on over. It's a little nerve-wracking, it's a little scary, but you can do it. You can do it. Rose believes in you. And we love Rose, don't we? Our really well-written, thought-out relationship. Anyway, this one, we flip. We flip. Again, this is at least a original, unique sequence. There was nothing like this in MGS1, so that's kind of cool. Strut L perimeter. It's kind of very, like, you know, binary, though. You just do it right and you move on. So it's kind of difficult for me to really say that it's that great. It's interesting. We want to crawl by, though, because there's a man in those windows. Wish there was more of that. Oh. You didn't want to crawl by that one. Because you fall in the water and it's very funny.
Answer me. Raiden!
Look! Now Snake wants to make sure we're okay. Alright. Take two. Okay, we're gonna wait until he goes by. And we're gonna flip. We flip. I thought it was a little further forward before we had to flip. Well, I'm gonna hope he's not right there. Whoop! Yep, that was a little scary, but we managed. We managed. Hey, how you doing? Yep, let's just go over here. Uh-huh. Nothing out of the ordinary. No little sneaky boy? Okay, just making sure. Because sometimes there's a sneaky boy. So not only can we shimmy across, you know, which we could have done at one point in MGS1, but we can also crouch and shimmy across. So again, little unique, little unique. Alright, pretty tricky, pretty tricky. But so far, seems alright. Looks like we're in the clear. Oh!
Oh, I'm going to go in my pants.
He's gonna go in his pants.
Right.
Oh. Oh, that's not... Oh, man, he really, really had to go, huh?
The enemy has already entered the nuclear...
Yeah, we know that. Do you have anything to say about my current situation?
Raiden, my sympathies. Sneaking missions are called wet works for a reason after all.
Don't worry about it, Jack. It's okay.
Rose?
That is, as long as you take a shower the second you get back. Do we have a deal?
Haha, Raiden got peed on. Because, you know, clearly it was just the players that were being mean to Raiden. Not like the game's mean to him or anything. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore about this game. Hey, check it out, right? Once again, spoilers? Yeah, that Shell 2 core is kind of like the only place we're going to be from now on. There's not much more left in the game in terms of gameplay. So what was the, like, thrilling... What? Solidus was cool, though. Remember Solidus? I wish he'd show up again. He's neat. He's neat. I like him. Well, we got across that wacky, kind of stupid gameplay section, and now we're in this. Come on. We can shoot at robots. They're kind of hard to hit, though. Oh. Well, guess what? We have, like, a bunch of bullets with this. Okay. Oh, yes. Let's pretend I didn't spoil the fact that we, once again, binary choice. We go there or we go nowhere. La la la. Let's try to get to Strut K. Oh. Oh, the keypad's ruined. Oh, we can't get in. Alright. La la la. Well, at least we have Strut L. Maybe we'll circle around. Maybe we'll circle around. We'll go to Strut L and circle around and Oh, it's level 5. Oh, we don't have level 5. I guess we just go to the Shell Core because there's nothing else to do. Hey, look at this stupid sequence. This is really easy to mess up. I'm probably going to mess it up. I did it. I sure hope you shot those ciphers, the gun ciphers, because if not, they'll shoot you dead here. But this is a timeless, perfect masterpiece, right? Not a bunch of stupid gameplay sequences that happen because they, I don't know, they had too many ideas, then they ran out of ideas.
Snake, he's here.
He is. And we now know that that's Solidus. It wasn't Solid Snake talking to Olga.
Unfinished business with him.
Olga, calm yourself.
I really love Olga's design during this part of the game. It's really cool, and they realized that because we would end up seeing a very similar design
Then screw your plan.
in a future game.
I've been waiting for this day for 2 years, and I will send him to the bottom of the ocean, right next to my old man.
The launch comes first.
Damn it. Where's Ocelot?
Not here.
He's not here.
I don't trust him.
Not trusting Ocelot. Good old trustworthy Ocelot?
He's not one of my own. He left my father to die, remember?
Olga, we'll talk later. We need to get started on the final checks for the unit.
All right. I'm headed back there.
Alright.
Bridge to Shell 1 is down.
Yeah, why's
What
that?
about the chopper?
Who
The
did that,
Catwalk is out of
Solidus?
action. Take the oil fence from Strut L.
I'll tell my men to start pulling out.
Not yet. Their retrieval comes last. The intruder's still at large.
That's me.
Snake.
And Snake.
What about the other man?
Me, I'm the other man.
Inside, certainly.
He survived that explosion.
I did.
Listen, Olga, the code
She's
confirmation
talking
is
about me.
1
It's
hour.
Doshio.
Keep the president alive until then.
I know. No one gets in here. Turn the currents on.
The currents.
Of course. High voltage currents on.
Oh.
The door stays shut unless the president manages to take out that circuit panel from inside the room. And it's no job for bare hands.
All right. Come back immediately.
One more thing.
What?
We leave for Russia when this business is done. I want half the money for that.
Of course. That was part of the agreement.
Again, I talk a lot about the
We start
localization, but
living for
Saldus's
ourselves
voice is
after
goddamn
this.
awesome.
If there's anyone who wants to stay here, I want you to take good care of them.
The ruse doesn't work, but man, his performance is awesome.
It's time they went free.
What happened to rebuilding Mother Russia?
The old man is dead. The world is a different place now.
It's your life.
And it's now or never? Oh.
I'm going to say this again.
Oh, we didn't start licensing music quite yet. Well, I guess we
Don't
did, but,
try
you know.
anything on us.
The feeling is mutual.
Listen to him, he loves it. He's so into it. I talk about the localization choices for additional
front of the room
context,
where
but I
they're keeping the
do like
president.
the English version of
Everything
this
all right?
game quite a bit.
No sign of
First
flooding.
thing I
can't
said
get
was,
close to the
it
door.
is like the
floor
real
is
version to
electrified.
me,
Don't
but even
test it.
still,
You'll be bacon.
you'll be bacon.
Any suggestions?
Remember the Shadow Moses VR training?
Yeah.
Take out the circuit panel?
Right.
But there's no way into the room.
Try ventilation ducts.
Yeah,
Look, they just show
I think
you
I
the
see one.
solution. I kind
Look
of hate
for a
that.
remote-controlled
They
missile
literally
launcher.
just show you the
You can guide it
solution.
through the duct into
Why?
the room.
Why would you do
Then
that?
Target the circuit panel. Got it.
Now again,
but make
there's
sure you
something to
don't
be
hit the
said. They even
president.
show you a funny thing you can do.
President is wired
There's
with
something to be said
nanomachines.
about how it's
If we know the
intentional.
frequency, I can raise him.
We've tried that
But it's
repeatedly,
weird
there's no
because there are
response.
some things
It
that are
looks
just
like the
bad
walls have a
MGS1
built-in radio
remake
shield.
in this.
So that's why.
But then
he
there's
never
other
lost
things that are
contact with
cool
him.
and unique.
If you
So
need
it's
to
like I
confirm his
don't
position,
I don't
you
know,
log
man.
Into the node.
Understood.
Locate a remote control missile launcher
when
first.
when the additional when you play it without context, right? And you go, "Okay, there's some cool stuff in this game." But But some of it just seems like a lesser version of MGS1. So I don't know, I feel kind of meh. And then the additional context is telling you, well, you see, it's a lesser version on MGS1 on purpose to make you feel kind of meh. You go, oh. And to some people, that's enough to elevate it to genius. And to me, it's just enough to go, oh, so you did it bad on purpose? So that actually kind of makes it worse in my eyes. But anyway, yeah, speaking of lesser versions of MGS1, it's just like 3 tiles of this. It's not a big, like, crazy gas room or anything. It's just really lame. And again, they already showed us the solution. We just get the Nikita and fire it through there. But, you know, conveniently, there's a Nikita that's here for some reason. Almost like it's purposefully trying to be a bad version of MGS1. And Raiden's questioning some things, but he ain't questioning that for some reason. I don't know. The president has a health bar. It says Prez. Also, in here you can see... Yep, there's some gun cameras. You might think I'm losing my marbles here, talking about some of this. And, well, I think this is a game about losing your marbles. So I think on higher difficulties, you need to come in here and fire the missile through there instead. But this is normal. This is the way you're supposed to experience the game. I'm getting a little heated talking about all this game design stuff. Maybe I could get some cold drinks. A Raccoon City favorite. Let's activate the node. Yep, and we can see the Prez with a Z right in there. Look, he doesn't know. He's like, what's going on? Oh, I'm president. Alright, alright. Oh, only one floor here, B1. Did you say nerd? Yes, that's right, Raiden. I'm talking about your dumbass. Hey, look, there's another one. By the way, as if this game didn't have questionable enough game design to begin with, how do you feel about swimming sections? Huh? How do you feel about swimming sections that have kind of like, questionable controls? Oh.
Colonel, B1 is completely flooded from what I can see.
You'll have to swim through.
Alright.
I'm fine with swimming.
Yeah, we already
Stroke
did that
the
early
water
on.
and move forward
You
by
don't have to
pushing the
tell
push
us.
button. Push it in rapid succession.
No,
to
you
swim
told us this
faster.
before.
Change your heading with the left stick. Up will take you up, down takes you lower. Left and right to face those directions.
The O2 gauge will appear under your life gauge while
His
you're
voice
underwater.
was a
The
bit
gauge corresponds to the
different
amount
there
of air you
between
can
takes
hold from a
because,
single
yeah, that
deep
was a
breath.
newer take
Once the O2 gauge
for the,
falls to 0, the life gauge will start to
HD
drop.
versions of the
You
game.
need to be aware of that.
It's nice that they re-recorded the lines, but would have been nice if they put a little more effort into making the transitionals smoother there. We got the night vision goggles. For some reason. I don't even know if they have any use in this game. If I'm being quite honest. I mean, I guess we could use them underwater, but... does it help? I don't think I've ever done that. No! Oh no, that, like, opposite helps! Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you put them underwater? You know we're going to equip them underwater. Again, is it one of those, well, you see, the bad game is bad on purpose to say a lot about society? I don't know. Let's just, oh, we can't go through that door. That's right. We gotta do a wacky roundabout scenario here. Gotta go all the way over here. Yep. Let's go up. We don't want to drown. And look. Look, did you see it? It's an adorable rubber ducky. Oh, he doesn't want to look. Come on. No, wait. Wait, no. Go back up. So about this sequence. The duck really doesn't want to look at us. He just... Ah, there we go. Look at that ducky. So about this underwater sequence. There's going to be all kinds of stupid shit in earlier versions of the game. So as much as, you know, there's the narrative that it's a perfectly crafted masterpiece, in addition to these stupid-ass mines, there were supposed to be sharks? Like genetically modified shark... Hey, check it out. It's the Vulcan Raven action figure.
You have the remote-controlled missile. Good job.
Cool.
Now head for the first floor of the Shell 2 core.
We
Take
just
out the power source
unceremoniously
and make
picked it up
contact with the president before
in the
launch
water.
code
I
can
didn't
be
even really
confirmed.
notice it, if I'm
Hurry.
being honest. I was looking at the Vulcan Raven action figure, but, you know, as I was saying, as many people as there are that say this is like a... Again, I think it's a good game. I like it. I love MGS1. You know? I only kind of like this, and it's fine. Again, the gameplay is good. The aesthetics are top-notch. The game looks still very, very nice. There's a lot of really good designs. There's a lot here to like, but there's also just as much to question. And I don't know, buddy. The way we just unceremoniously get the Nikita, and the fact we do it through this weird going in the water, and then there were supposed to be sharks, and all kinds of other weird stuff. So clearly there's stuff that is half-baked, by definition, that they didn't get to finish. So I don't know, maybe the game's just kind of weird. Maybe it's like just not... Maybe it's as simple as game, not best game. Anyway, check it out. We got the Nikita launcher. Looks exactly how it looks in MGS1. Looks exactly how it looks in Smash Brothers. Works exactly how it worked in MGS1. I don't think we can... can we... Okay, I guess it's only first person in this. Hey, hi, Raiden. Hi, Raiden. Oh, it's getting a little close. Oh, it's not too bad. It does have one extra function, though, which, unfortunately, we won't get to use much in this game. But, so let's talk about hand-to-hand. Let's talk about not CQC. So when, you know, you've seen me flip men with the weapon button. The circle button is our punch kick. We've seen that. Snake has his rolling sabot kick. Raiden's got this like double cartwheel thing. Double crescent kick thing. That's the cartwheel. The cartwheel can also be used to hit opponents. But something this game did is, depending on what weapon you have, see, we still kind of do our little palm strikes there. But if we've got a two-handed weapon like the M4, oh look! First two strikes, he hits you with the gun. So what happens when we have this? Well, he holds it just like the M4. So, not much difference. But what about when we've got the Nikita? The Nikita's a big boy. Well, we do this motion. And that's very useful. Because that pretty much knocks dudes out, like, immediately. It's really strong. Now, unfortunately, you don't get the Nikita launcher until this point of the game, so there's not many dudes to knock out with this. If only there were another Metal Gear Solid game that runs on this game's engine and gameplay and animations, where you get the Nikita much earlier. I'm talking about Twin Snakes. I'm talking about Twin Snakes. You get the Nikita in Twin Snakes, and you can do that, and it's really useful on a particular boss fight. We'll get there when we get there, but just know that, you know, this is a really good move that unfortunately the game doesn't let you do as often as I wish it did, because it's pretty cool. I can't remember. Oh, I guess I do have to be, I think I have to be here and crouched like, maybe I don't have to be crouched. No, I guess this is fine. All right. So on higher difficulties, this is how they want you to do it.
What is that?
And the president fell over. And yeah, look, it's not even a big puzzle like it was in MGS1. You just shoot it and it goes in. That's it. That's it. Oh, nothing there. I wish I didn't sound so disappointed when I play this game, but it's really hard not to be disappointed when you play this game, especially if you've played it as much as I have, because I like it. But it just makes you think about, yeah, man, they really maybe should have rethought some of what they were doing. Now, if I remember correctly, whoops, if I remember correctly, I can just wiggle right off the stage there. But I think maybe it's down here? Somewhere here, there's a little bit of an Easter egg that's kind of treacherous and difficult to find. Oh, there's Stinger ammo. Wait!
What is that?
Oh, I guess I can get through there later. Well, somewhere in here, there's a Moai statue, similar to the one in the electrified floor gas room office building of MGS1. I don't quite know the direction, unfortunately, because again, it's a bit labyrinthian in here. I think this is just the way out. Yep. I don't know. I don't remember where it is, but trust me, there's a Moai head in there somewhere. I think we've given the president enough of a panic attack.
President Johnson.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
So you're finally here.
You've been
Performing for
expecting me?
you.
Your equipment, that skull suit isn't exactly standard military.
How did you see
issue.
it under my...
Are you all right, sir?
Under my Gurlukovich uniform.
Is this some kind of sick joke? I thought you came to kill me.
What?
I'm prepared to face the consequences of my betrayal.
Okay. Whoa, hey.
What the?
You're a man? Well, who are you?
Foxhound, sir.
Foxhound? I see. Now things are starting to make a little sense.
Are they? You just grabbed my junk. So he grabs Raiden's junk because he thought that Raiden
Switch
was
over to
a woman.
nanocommunication
And
so
once
nobody
again,
can
we
listen in.
switch over to
Yes,
the
sir.
nano communication so no one can listen in, even though we've already established that that's
read
not
this,
how
sir?
it works and you have to speak out loud for the
yes.
codec to work. But
Mr.
whatever.
President, it's my
This game's perfect
understanding
with no
that terror
flaws, so
and
I
malicious
guess it
input
says a
the
lot
code
about
sequence
society
necessary
that they,
for launching
I
a
think,
nuclear
ran out of
strike.
money or
That's
time,
correct.
or
I
just
punched
he
the
couldn't think of a
sequence in
way to
myself.
animate this
You're
much
working for
dialogue to
them?
make it
If
interesting.
you asked me 2 hours ago, my answer would have been yes.
I don't know, but the
Right now,
the president.
They're keeping me alive
Yep,
until
the
my
president
vital
tried to
signs
grab
are
our crotch.
reconfirmed.
They betrayed you?
That's the
Wouldn't
real
quite
important
put it
thing
that
here.
way.
Remember
I
that for
wanted
later.
Power. They sought destruction.
But why stick
Remind
to
me of it too,
terrorism?
if I
wanted
forget.
absolute power.
Absolute power
You're the
corrupts
president.
absolutely. We
You
heard the
have
song.
Power.
No, I'm just a figurehead.
What?
I don't have any control. The real power is in the Patriots' hands.
The Patriots?
Oh no.
The truth behind this country. I'm
Hey,
not
remember
surprised
what
you've
I
never
said
heard of it.
about
Very few are aware of their
there are
existence.
people who will look at
Even
certain
among those
plot
with Cold
points in
War
Metal
clearance.
Gear and be like, it was so ahead of its time. How did they know?
Politics, the
Yeah, so
military,
the Shadow Government
They
is
control it
a
all.
plot
They
point in
even
this
choose
game
those
that
who
came
follow
out.
it.
It was
What
being
gets
developed
in?
in late
The
2000,
Patriots
early
rule this
2001, and didn't release until late 2001. And maybe actually some of these things aged very poorly. In fact, I would go so far as to say
Income tax reduction, and
that
national
maybe
missile
some of
defense
these plot
programs.
points, rather than
Every policy
being
that's
the
been
works of a
credited to
modern
me was
Nostradamus,
actually
were the
done
works
according
of
to their
things that people
instructions.
just made a lot of movies and books
Space
about
defense
in the
was
late
initiated by
90s.
Congress.
That's what
And
the
then
Patriots
certain
hope the
events would
country
happen
be.
in the early
It's all a
2000s and
show.
beyond that would
Democracy is
prove
just a filler for
that
next
not
one.
only is everything he's saying full of
Lead
garbage,
public opinion
but
influences the
also
government.
that maybe
country is
this
shaped
game
and
did
controlled
age
by
kind of
the
poorly in a
Patriots.
lot of ways. I don't know,
People are
bro.
shown what they wanna
But
believe.
that doesn't change the
What
fact
you
that
call
he is a
government is
crotch
actually
grabbing
about stage
president
production
who colluded
aimed at
for
satisfying
power.
the
So
public.
maybe it is a little bit on the nose. Who can
That,
say? Who
I'm
can
legally
say?
sane, you know.
It's not your sanity that worries me.
My sanity's worrying me right now, Raiden, because I gotta play this game. I just want to move
Even
on
I
to
don't know
Twin
who the
Snakes.
actual members are. Are they financial, political, or
Damn mice in the
military?
vents think they discovered gunpowder. Yeah.
No
Well,
one
those are
knows what the
Alaskan
Patriots
field
really
mice.
are. Even my instructions
They're not
come with a
rats.
cutout. All I've been
They
told
carry
is that
5.56s
every key
and
decision is
pineapples.
made by a group of 12 men, known as
Hey,
the
he's
Wise
explaining
Men's
the Wise Men's Committee and the Shadow Government
office,
and
the White
all of
House?
this shit.
merely puppets, pawns in a game.
Again, this was
By
pretty
pledging
interesting
my
to me when I
loyalty,
first
an
played this
insignificant
game.
son of a senator was awarded the
The
presidency.
idea that, well, the president's not the
That
real
was the only
president,
price
and
I
the
had to
country
pay.
and maybe even the world
do you mean?
are ruled by a
Even if
shadowy
the pawn
organization of
becomes a
elites.
queen,
And nowadays,
it's still
I
just a
just kind of
play piece.
groan at this.
I
And it's
wanted
one
to
of those
leave my
things
own
that
mark
I'm
in
like,
history.
you know,
my
there are people who will
ambitions
see
were-
this and say, "Oh my God, like wow, so ahead of its
You'll
time." But
understand.
no, because this was common in like espionage fiction and
wished to be a
movies
member
and
of the
stuff at the time.
Patriots.
This was
I
just a
wanted to
trope
wield
at the
power of
time.
a king instead of being an
And the
expendable
thing that
pawn.
really frustrates
And
me
that justifies
is
acts
that
of terrorism?
eventually we
Yes.
would come to the modern age where
intended to
people
use the new Metal
unironically
Gear as a
believe
bargaining
things
chip.
like this.
Bargaining chip?
But I
And unfortunately, a lot of people
underestimated
believe it because
He
they've seen
actually
it in
wants to
movies, they've seen
challenge
it in
the
fiction, they've
Patriots,
seen it in
even if it
video
means the
games,
destruction of the
and they
world.
create this
What are you
this
saying?
fiction in
Whether
this
you
world and this
believe it or
backdrop
not,
that makes
the
for an
balance of
interesting
power
story.
rests in the hands of the Patriots. They
But
regulate the
it's
country's
meant to be a
various
backdrop
interests
for
through
the I
controlled
don't know. It just
presentation, staging a
when people
drama
say
that
this
is
game
palatable to the
predicted
general
things
masses.
and didn't
Can you
age
imagine
poorly,
what would
I
happen
just think about this
if they
plot
ceased
point and
to
I go,
function?
I don't know, dude, that seems a little sketch to me
Picture
nowadays.
a massive political vacuum, a space that every power
It just-
will try to fill for their own greedy
And I
ends.
know I'm talking all
I'm
over
talking
him.
about an unregulated power struggle, panic,
But
Civil
I feel
war,
like it's
chaos.
warranted at this point. I feel like
Like it or not,
everyone's talked
the
about this
Patriots is an
game. I
organization
feel like
that
everyone's
must
played this
continue to
game. We've all
exist.
heard the codex.
you changed
But
your mind
I'm
because
playing to
you
give
want
you
to
my
avoid
piece.
global
I'm playing to
chaos.
give you my take on
When I
everything.
told Solidus that I wished to prevent
And
disaster, he
part of that
replied
is, yeah,
storms
looking at this
can
game not
never
only
become
as
quiet.
the sequel
And who is
to a
this
best-selling
Solidus?
PlayStation 1 game. We already know who Solidus
My
is because we
predecessor,
beat the first game. Come on,
George
Raiden.
Summers. That was the name
Um,
the public came to know him by. I knew
But
him
yeah,
by
I don't know.
his
I
code
think
name,
the idea
Solidus
that this
Snake.
game hasn't aged poorly
He
and
was
it's
the third
more
snake,
poignant than
created
ever.
by Solid and Liquid.
No,
A
no,
survivor
because a
of the
lot of the
Laser
stuff
Point
they
Teresa.
talk about in
Neither
older
solid
media
nor liquid.
that
He
seems
was a
more relevant than
well-balanced
ever now,
Celestial.
it was relevant
Fate
then.
saw fit
It was
for the
relevant
post of
then, or it
presidency.
was just a trope of the
However, he
times.
fell out of grace
So
with
no,
the
it's not that
organization
it's
4
more
years ago,
relevant.
when
It's
acting on
just
his
that,
own, he
I
started
don't know,
an
you weren't
incident.
paying attention.
4 years ago.
And again, I
Shadow
think some of
Moses.
what this game tries to establish is
That's
a little
right.
damaging.
At the time, the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson, together with certain
I feel like
influential
maybe
parties,
some of these, I
initiated
feel like
the
maybe this
development
shouldn't
of
have been
Metal
such a
Gear
trope
Rex
because, yeah, a lot of people
and an
unironically believe
advanced
this kind of
nuclear
shit
warhead.
nowadays, and it,
However, this did
Ugh.
not fall in line with the
yeah,
Patriots' plans.
our government
What's
isn't
more,
that
Solidus
shadowy, it's just
decided on his own
corporations.
to
Yeah,
send his most
yeah.
trusted man, Ocelot, to provoke Liquid Snake, bringing about the said incident.
Because there's definitely
As a
some
result, he
political
succeeded in
corruption and
obtaining
things,
Rex and
you know,
the
we should
data on the
question
warhead.
and see past
But
the
in
veil
doing
of
so, he
whatever.
ended up
But it's
revealing
usually
the
just people are
existence of
fucking
both
greedy as
Rex
shit and want a
and the
bunch of money.
Genome Army, a blunder that earned him
I don't know.
the wrath of the Patriots. Shortly thereafter, Solidus was removed from the presidency.
So he's describing the aftermath of the events of Shadow Moses, and that's plot relevant, and that's
I
cool.
thought he resigned.
That's the story given. To the
I do
general
think
public.
that
Following his
the-
resignation, the
I
Patriots
think the
selected
actual
me,
plot of
their
this
new
game is a lot more
candidate for
interesting than the
presidency.
But that
themes
would mean that the presidential race
and its
was...
cultural
quite a
relevancy
show,
and
wasn't it?
etc. etc. I think a lot of that's just overblown, man. Because I'm old enough to remember playing this game when it came out in late 2001.
Everything went according to plan,
And I
but
was an
for one
impressionable
exception.
teenager, and yeah, for a little bit I was like, maybe they're
Following his
cooking.
resignation,
Maybe everything they're
Solidus
saying is
held
right.
the
Maybe
schedule
things
to
are run
failure,
by a
bringing about
shadowy
his
cabal of
untimely
elites
death.
that, oh man. And then I went,
But
no.
before the Patriots could execute
no,
their
I think
plot,
that's all just a bunch
Solidus
of like
went
stuff to make a
underground with the
story
help of
interesting.
Ocelot.
And it certainly
As he
makes the
avoided
story
pursuit,
interesting, but
Solidus
I don't
gained
know.
control of
A lot of
Deathstar,
this was just
winning over
cliche at the
Colonel
time, man.
Belukovich's outfit. From there, he bided his time, knowing that his opportunity
So I think the
would soon
themes
arrive.
work, but I think saying that
To me,
events in this
the
game
completion of the new
are
Metal
more
Gear
relevant than
project,
ever
an
is just
opportunity
kind of
that will
silly.
even
You're
be
just being a
odds
silly
against the
boy. Don't do
Patriots.
that. Don't
By
say that.
stealing the Patriots'
Do you
most
really
valued
think that,
project,
like,
he would be able to
government
place them in a
corruption
very
was something that Metal
uncomfortable
Gear
position.
Solid 2
It's the only
invented?
chance he
Do you
has
really
for
think the
survival.
idea
Once
of
he has the
political
new Metal
figures
Gear, he'll
in a
declare
weird,
war
like,
against the Patriots.
shuffle for
Needless to
power
say,
and,
he must be
and you know,
Metal Gear is
they just
already in
start
operation.
losing morals that they maybe didn't have to begin with and collude with others to bolster their own name and reputation? That's not something Metal Gear Solid 2 invented. I don't know how to
Then
tell you
where's
that.
The new Metal Gear.
Right here.
What?
Anyway,
You're
he's revealing
standing
to us
in it.
that
To
thing
be more precise,
that we saw
this entire
in the,
big
Shell 1
facility
core,
is the new Metal Gear.
What'd you say?
which was a
No,
little
I'm
symbol
quite
that
serious. The
represented,
upper structure that you've
yeah,
seen is
it was just a
camouflage,
picture of the new Metal
designed to
Gear. It was there the
represent
whole
an
time. We
offshore
saw it.
cleanup facility. The main structure extends from the foundation all the way down to the ocean floor. The connecting
A lot of this stuff
elevator
has
is
always been
located
there.
on the
Internet age
B2
just makes it a little
floor
more
of the
transparent.
Shell
Yeah.
1 core.
One of these days, we're
Arsenal
gonna
Gear.
expose
That's the
Shadow
code
Governmentman,
for the
and he's
new
going to
Metal
admit
Gear.
he was inspired
Arsenal?
to take over the nation because of MGS2. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Arsenal.
Look,
We're
we saw
talking
it
about
right
an
there.
impregnable
Look, it's
fortress
that
carrying a
shape.
load of over a couple of thousand
So the whole
missiles,
big
including
shell
nuclear warheads,
is
all
yeah
protected
is
by
the
a
new
horde of
Metal Gear.
mass-produced
It's like a
Metal Gear
big
ray
gigantic
units.
Produced.
The
kinda
ray
looks like
unit
a
was
pepper,
originally
I always
designed for the
found.
Marines to be used as a countermeasure against the Metal Gear variations throughout the world.
and it's just got a bunch of
The
rays.
Patriots had Ray redesigned to protect the new Arsenal Gear.
So now anti-Metal Gears are guarding a Metal Gear.
Ironic, isn't it?
No, it's not
That's
ironic at
all.
all. It actually makes
Arsenal
perfect
Gear
sense.
has full access to the military's tactical
Personnel
network, giving it
are
the
are
ability
guarded
to
by
exercise
things that are usually
absolute
like
control over our
anti-personnel
nation's armed
equipment,
forces.
you know?
Not to mention our nuclear
That's
armaments.
usually how it
In
works.
short,
If you're trying to guard
Arsenal
against
was
something,
created to be the core
you
of our
know,
country.
if you're going out there like with a sword,
Weapon?
to fight against guys
You're
who
not
have
seeing the
swords,
full
you
picture.
probably have like a shield, you
Arsenal
know?
gear is more than just
So you're
a
using your
military
sword to
tool.
protect yourself against the sword. It's not that ironic,
It is a
Mr.
means to
James
preserve the
Johnson, if
world
that
as
is
it
your real name.
It will establish a new form of control. The Patriots will use it to keep their place as the country's true rulers. Right now, they feel pressure.
I think this game's a lot more fun, actually, if you just pretend that everything the president's saying is a bunch of conspiracy theory bullshit. Like, what if he was just out of his fucking gourd? Unlike the tanker where they had plenty of squash, what if the president here is out of his gourd and is just spewing a bunch of garbage he saw on Twitter? He's like, Raiden, I'm telling you, the Patriots control everything, Raiden. Trust me, the food you eat, the high fructose corn syrup, it's all just a ploy of the Patriots. Like, what if he was full of shit? I think that would be way funnier. I think that would be a way better Metal Gear game. It's like everyone's telling you there's this big old conspiracy, and then it turns out they're a bunch of fucking crackpots, and it's just some guy who wants to build a big robot to do crime. Do crimesman? That could be his name.
His plan to unleash a nuclear blast over the skies of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Break the Patriots' control over the business community.
No, Ames told us that.
In his offensive effort.
No, Ames already told us. Yeah.
There isn't much time. The football served as the key for activating.
No, that's not a
Arsenal
Revelation
gear.
video
I've
game.
already
We know a lot of these
necessary code
things.
sequence. It won't be long before GW begins to establish connections with other external systems, and Arsenal gear becomes fully operational.
It's a really sad and
Stop them
sobering
before
thought.
that
Yeah.
happens. That is your
Yeah.
You've got to find
It's a
Emma
little
Eve.
messed up, but I
She's the
almost feel
only
like
one who
that
can
would be
stop that
more
thing
relevant
once
than
it's
ever,
activated.
you know? And again, I don't mean to
She's the system
rail
programmer
on
for
this
Arsenal
game
gear.
so hard.
Believe she's
I know I'm
somewhere
coming
on
off
level
like the
B1
guy who
in the
hates
core of the building.
MGS2. I do like
The
this
levels
game.
below us were flooded.
I just don't like
I'm sure
how
they won't
it's
let her
kind
die
of
just yet, as she's the only
warped and
remaining
morphed
programmer
into
for
this
project.
like
According
idea
to
that this is a
Ocelot,
perfect
she was
flawless
being held in a
masterpiece
locker
with the
room
most
located
poignant
in the
messages
northwest part
where
of
every
Level
gameplay
B1.
design
Cut
is so
transmission to get moving.
perfectly curated to tell this amazing thought-provoking story when really a lot of it is kind of messy and muddled and
This is
unfinished
card
and
4.
in
This will
often
give you
cases
access all the
cliche.
way to Emma's location. Give this to her
And
when
that a
you
lot
find
of what
it.
is being
A
said,
program for disrupting
you know,
the control
I mean, when you buy the
functions
Master
between GW and
Collection,
Arsenal
there's
gear.
a big
Take
fat
Emma to
warning
the
that says,
computer
hey,
on level
some of the
B2.
shit in these games
Shell
hasn't
1
aged
core.
well,
She'll know how to load the
but we
program
didn't
into the
want to
main
censor it. We wanted to present it
That's
to
right,
you as
modeled
originally
after
intended,
Fonstein, a biological
but just know
weapon
that there are
designed to
certain things
selectively
that
eliminate
maybe,
personnel
you
with
know,
a specific genetic code.
But why do you have
maybe haven't particularly aged well, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that warning, and I appreciate them wanting to preserve the past in that way, which ironically fits better into the message of this game that we'll get into during the credits,
Well,
more than the people who make video essays about how this game is apparently some flawless masterpiece that aged perfectly.
there's only one thing that remains.
And you know what? I am going to spoil one line as this plot happens because it's on my mind. There's a line towards the end of the game that says something along the lines of our history, as messy as it is, needs to be preserved in all of its light for future generations to learn from. Ironically, the Metal Gear Master Collection, for not editing any of this, for presenting it as it was originally intended upon release, does a better job of maintaining the, by the way, the president, he's not doing too well. But, yeah, I think that does a better job of preserving the message of this game better than people's video essays about how it's a masterpiece. Anyway, shut up, Ocelot's here, and he shot old Jimmy Johnson there.
Must have slipped.
Oops, I totally killed him by accident.
See you around, carrier boy.
I'm also gonna call you Carrier Boy. Look, I'm Ocelot. I killed someone totally accidentally
Without free will.
after they gave you an MO disc.
Between submission.
Do you get it, Raiden? It's all like Shadow Moses. Anyway, I'm gonna be out of here.
Real choice.
You keep talking to that nerd about narrative themes or whatever.
Let me at least have the freedom to end.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think a lot of people who make like video essays and articles about this game don't get it as well as they think they do. And I'm not trying to sit here on the computer, on the internet, and tell you I understand this game better than anyone else. But I am trying to tell you that, I don't know, maybe the game's a little janky and fucking weird. That's all I'm really trying to say. Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe I still really like it, but maybe it's fucking weird and some of it aged very poorly. You ever think about how the fact that Vamp is bisexual just so he creeps you out? Isn't that a little fucked up? Isn't that a little weird that Vamp is bisexual just so you're weirded out by him? I don't know if that's the message we want to send in 2025. Anyway, hey, he's dead. That's not great.